Hey, this is Kenny Mayne. This is not my podcast. I'm just the introductory voice doing a favor for an old friend. He somehow thinks this is going to help his success. We'll find out. I sure hope so, though, because I've known Keith Simons since we were like 10 or 11 years old. We played boys club football together back in Federal Way, Washington. Then we played against each other in junior high and high school. He went on to college. I went on to college. He went on to coach college and then tutor quarterbacks pretty much the rest of his life. And he got so deep and nerdy into the art of quarterbacking that he decided to start a podcast called QB Unfiltered. There will be far better quarterbacks than I as guests on this show, but I'm just here to say, listen, you might learn something.
This is QB Unfiltered. I'm Coach Keith Simons. It's Workday Wednesday, constructing the quarterback. Today, preparing your eventual starting QB. Now, unless you have, as a coach, a totally unique and rare quarterback on your hands, freshman quarterbacks are not prepared to start. They are not prepared to lead your football team. It's an exercise in futility. And this day and age, and we're in 2024 right now, but this has been going on now for probably out of control now for, 10 years, that high school quarterbacks going into college truly feel that if they're not starting as a true freshman, that they need to piss and moan about that and jump in the transfer portal and go to a program where they are inserted in the starting lineup. Now, this also happens at the high school level where you've got these underclassmen, sophomores, freshmen in high school that feel that it's their right. They've got all of this talent that they should be the guy. And in reality, some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, if these guys are honest with themselves, if they've got good advice, good advisors, smart parents, if the coaches have a plan and they lay it out to where these kids understand what the benefits are, also what the pratfalls are, you would see less and less of this mentality of, I have to play right now. Now, Nick Saban, the great Nick Saban, who just retired from Alabama. Great job, Coach Saban. A lot of respect for you. And I'm going to do a show on him down the road where I talk about all the great things that he did in his career and why college football losing him to retirement is not a good thing for the sport. Okay, let's get back to the QB stuff. So Saban said that freshman quarterbacks can't play at the University of Alabama, and they're not ready to play, and that's why they don't play. And he went into his reasons, and he was right. I'm going to give you my opinions on the subject today, and I'm also going to go into my philosophy and the actual inner workings of how I ran my quarterbacks as far as getting them ready to actually start, and the things that went into that process, and the unbelievable advantages of playing a kid when he is ready to play. Okay. Not when he thinks he's ready to play, but when he is truly ready to play. And before we do that, let's talk about some pretty well-known quarterbacks, some guys that got things done that did not start in college as a true freshman. I'm talking about starting the first game of their true freshman season. We'll start with Dan Marino. It took him 5 games into his freshman year before he was put in the starting lineup at the University of Pittsburgh. And that was only after their starter got hurt. All right. So, but 5 games, I mean, that's a month and a half of playing plus, 3 weeks of fall camp plus summer workouts getting ready for that freshman year. That's a lot of time to get a little bit of experience. But I'll bet that there is no way that Dan Marino was ready to step in and take snaps for the Pittsburgh football team in game 1 of his true freshman season. Joe Montana, he didn't start until halfway through his 3rd year at Notre Dame. His junior year, Joe Montana. Steve Young at BYU, and we've talked in other shows about the unbelievable QB factory that BYU had. And Jim McMahon was in front of Steve Young, and McMahon got hurt in a game, and that's how Young got on the field. So as far as Steve Young goes, to have a guy like McMahon in front of him and a coach like Norm Chow coaching him up, that's pretty good training ground for when you do get your shot. Peyton Manning. Now, he played as a true freshman, but he didn't start the first game. And it was a couple games in when their starter got hurt, and Peyton was inserted in the lineup. He's one of these guys, and as I said, unless your quarterback is one of those rare birds where he is just so much more prepared than the average QB physically and mentally, there are guys that can do it, but it's usually not the norm. But Manning, it was a couple games into his freshman year. Tom Brady, like Joe Montana, 3rd year as a junior at the University of Michigan. And he went on to have a pretty decent pro career. Aaron Rodgers went to junior college, went to Butte College in the conference that I coached in for Santa Rosa Junior College before going to Cal. So JC out of high school. And then you've got Warren Moon. Here's another junior college guy down in Los Angeles. Plays a couple of years there and then goes and becomes the man at the University of Washington. And the rest was history, but he was a JUCO guy coming out of high school. Patrick Mahomes, again, like Marino, Mahomes was inserted into the lineup at Texas Tech his freshman year only when the starter was injured. And this was about halfway through the season when Mahomes was put in. Justin Herbert, halfway through his freshman year at the University of Oregon. John Elway didn't start until he was a sophomore at Stanford. Drew Brees didn't start until he was a sophomore at Purdue. And C.J. Stroud started as a redshirt freshman, which means he practiced his entire freshman season at Ohio State as a redshirt. Obviously didn't play in any games. So the second year, one year makes a huge difference in a quarterback's maturity level and readiness level. And that's what played out with C.J. Stroud. So why is it that quarterbacks aren't ready to play as true freshmen or aren't ready to play as freshmen or sophomores in high school? Well, number one, physically weak, okay? The body obviously naturally matures. You get bigger and stronger naturally. You grow taller. You put on weight. But a lot of these guys, whether it's a kid coming into high school or a guy that played in high school that's moving to the 4-year level, they haven't really had a really good weight training program, weightlifting program. And as soon as you get involved in that at any position on the football team, you're going to put on muscle and muscle weight. Okay. Physically stronger. How does physical strength play into playing quarterback? Well, QBs do get hit. They get hit, they get beat up, they take shots, and the durability part of it, it's a big plus. You know, you're not frail, you're not skinny. Um, so the physical strength, and these kids aren't ready to carry the mail um, before they get in the weight room and get a good weight program going. So that's one of them right there. Then also mentally clueless. And this is a big one. Mentally clueless. Um, I think back to when I was coming out of high school into college. I was a dumb shit. And I'm talking X's and O's wise. I didn't know how to read coverage. I couldn't tell you, you know, the ins and outs of what two zone looked like versus cover three zone. You know what it looked like pre-snap when a team was playing cover one man free. You know what it looked like when the safeties walked down and played cover zero and what that meant coverage wise. I didn't know any of that stuff, and obviously the passing games have become so much better for high school quarterbacks, and the coaching has become better for high school quarterbacks. And I know that the guys that I coached in high school at the end of my coaching career, which is about the last 6 years of my 36-year career, was at the high school level when I was semi-retired and just coaching for former quarterbacks of mine that were head coaches in high schools up there in Northern California. The guys that I was coaching at those high schools, they knew what they were doing when they were done playing as seniors. When they moved on to the college level, they had way more knowledge mentally, X's and O's wise, than I ever did, or that there's a lot of high school guys out there, even today, that go into the college setting ill-equipped. I was always amazed when I was the head coach at Santa Rosa Junior College, the quarterbacks that came in and played for me that didn't have any idea about the X's and O's part of it. And I'm gonna tell you one story. I'm gonna give this guy's name. He's not gonna mind. Quarterback that played for me, his name was Ryan Byrne. He's now the athletic director at Marin College in Northern California. It's a junior college. He was a local high school guy that came to play for me in probably 1997. And the first day that we met for fall camp as quarterbacks in our quarterback meeting, I had those guys take out a piece of paper with a pencil and chalk up our 2x2 formation. And then I told them, I want you to chalk up two deep zone against that and put in all the drops of the DBs and linebackers. And I want you to chalk up cover three. And then I want you to chalk up what cover one looks like, so on and so forth. Well, the quarterbacks in that room started writing, doing their thing. And Ryan just takes his pencil and sets it down on the desk and basically looked at me and shook his head. And afterwards, he just said, Coach, you know, I had no idea. I wasn't even going to try to bullshit you. So fast forward, Ryan Byrne's a sophomore for us now and leads the nation in passing for junior colleges. And his situation was not rare. You know, most of the guys that I got that came in and played for me that did end up leading the country in passing, we did it 8 times at SRJC. Those guys, to coin a phrase that I use a lot, they didn't know if the ball was pumped or stuffed when they showed up at the JC. And so I can't imagine handing them the football as a true freshman with that knowledge base and saying, go out and, move our offense and win us some football games. So the mental cluelessness about coverages, the schemes, the offensive schemes in college are way more complex than the high school schemes. If you got a kid that's coming into high school that's been playing, up in Washington, they called it junior high football, which was grade 7, 8, and 9. Those guys going into high school as freshmen and even sophomores, they have no idea what they're doing, X's and O's wise. Proper planning by you as a coach will go miles in how your starting quarterback plays for you on game day or game night. Okay, this has been Constructing the Quarterback, QB Unfiltered. And remember, always throw the ball short to guys who can score. See ya.